Yo guys, Tom here. Today I'm going to be testing out some M4 bolts to replace the stock 3.5 hinge pins. I've already broken 2 hinge pins on the rear on this. I don't have any more. It seems like they're kind of unavailable right now, and I don't want to buy more when these are just breaking all the time anyway. So I know that the X-Max, the RPM version for the X-Max, and I think CEN makes some for the X-Max, they will fit the rear. But from what I've heard, they don't fit the front. So I wanted to kind of come up with a solution for all 4 corners. And what I found were these M4 by 60 bolts off of Amazon. And then I ordered a kind of a kit that has a bunch of stainless nylock nuts on here. So I think 5 bolts were like $7, $8. The whole kit of stainless nuts was like another $8 or so. And the nice thing is, let me show you how this is gonna work on here. Okay, so here's the stock hinge pin, and you can see the 60 mil is longer, but I'm just gonna cut the end down a little bit. So you can see this has a threaded portion that is 25 millimeters long, and the rest is unthreaded. Okay, so I'm just gonna drill out this front part of the arm here. Try to keep it as straight as possible. We'll check the fit. So it's still a pretty tight fit. I'm gonna kind of experiment and see. This is a 5/32 bit. So I'm gonna see, I don't mind it being a little tight on this side, but of course this needs to pivot freely. So I gotta make sure that this is opened up enough to pivot on there. So I'm gonna see what size bit I end up using for that. Okay, so here's what I found actually worked really well. I used a 5/32 bit and I drilled through the front portion of the arm here. I drilled through the axle carrier here, and then I stopped. I didn't drill this back portion at all. Then what I found was it's still a pretty tight fit. It wasn't going to really pivot freely on here. So I used an 11/64 bit, and I drilled out just this center portion here, just the axle carrier here. I did not drill this arm here. And when you thread this through, it threads through fairly easy. You can't just push it through here. You will have to thread it, and then once it gets to the unthreaded portion, it'll already make contact in the back here and kind of pull its way through. So then back here, it just kind of threaded itself through. And what it does is it gives you like a nice tight fit on the front and rear arm here. And then in the center, it's just enough clearance in there for this to move nice and free. And there's really no play in here at all. In fact, you know, you got to be careful snugging this up. You don't want to tighten this too much when you're threading into here. You don't really want to like pinch these two together because it could cause some binding here. Whereas with the stock one, because of the shoulder here on the end of the threads, you could only tighten it so far and you'd never be able to really squeeze those. So I don't know if that's ever going to really be an issue, but there's really not much noticeable play in here. And it's not like I drill this on a drill press or anything. So I just kind of, I think drilling it first with a smaller bit as like a pilot keeps it straight, and then going up to the next step up also keeps it straight. So you just want to go slow and just kind of let it pull its way through, and just be careful. You don't have to do it more than once. You don't want to remove too much material. So yeah, in the back, I'm not even going to trim this. This is like perfect length here. I don't really feel the need that this isn't going to hit the wheel or anything, so I'm just going to leave it as is. And then on the front, I'll have to do something. But honestly, I don't know if I'm going to do the front right now. I've not had any issues breaking the fronts, and I haven't really seen too many people post anything on breaking the fronts. And I think that's just because with the wheels being able to turn in the front, if you take a hard smack to the front, kind of the wheel will give, and it just doesn't put the same amount of impact on the front arms. I could be wrong, and I'll probably bring everything with me just in case I need to change these out while I'm there. While I'm out running this thing. So, but for now, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air on this. I might just test this in the rear because that's where I'm having all the problems. So, like I said, I'm definitely going to bring everything I need to do the front as well. Okay, so for the fronts, I'm just going to cut these down because I don't think there's enough clearance here. I didn't try putting it in first, obviously, but I don't think there's enough clearance here for the wheel. I think they would rub. So I'm going to take 10 millimeters off of the end of here. So just what I did is I threaded a nut down on first. So after I cut it, if the threads are kind of distorted or just, you know, rough in any way, as I thread the nut back off, it's going to kind of correct the threads So I'm just going to use a rotary tool here with a little cutoff wheel. Clean up the threads a little bit. It's going to be hot, so just be careful. Yeah, if you're good at cleaning up the threads, you really don't have to go crazy with this. But like I said, as you thread the nut off, it will kind of straighten out the threads on the end, and then you can go back in and if you have a little file or sandpaper, you can kind of smooth that out too if you get any like sharp edges there. But that's it for that. Ready to go. Yeah, so you might just ask, hey, why not just buy shorter bolts for the front? Well, I wanted this unthreaded portion to be long enough, and it worked out perfectly for the back where this whole center axle carrier is riding on the unthreaded portion, and it would be the same for the front. So I think, I have to go back and double check, but I think the 50 mils that I looked at had a much longer threaded portion, and it may have worked for the front. I got to double check on that, but these would work pretty nicely for the front and the rear, so I thought it would just be easier to use just to get all the same ones. So. Noodle bumper. Nice. Oh, damn it. So my hinge pin mod holding up very well. My axle pin fix on the front holding up great. Like I said, I got bolts on the rear hinge pins that I threw on there, so far so good with that. And taking the new servo I put in, so far things working great today. That was sick. So far, this thing's working great today. Motor's definitely feeling a little warm. Glad I have that fan on there. ESC's a little warm too. Might actually need a bigger fan in the summertime, maybe a dual fan. Motor is running pretty hot right now. Okay, so there you have it, guys. Great run on the Sledge over the weekend. On Saturday, you'll see in the video, I ran about 4 packs through it at the sand pit, had a great time. I felt like I ran it just as hard as I did in the previous video, and I had no issues with my new hinge pins, with those M4 screws as hinge pins. And really no other issues at all with the whole vehicle. Motor, I mentioned, was running a little bit hot. I didn't have my temp gun with me, so I didn't check the exact temps, but it felt, pretty hot to the touch. You really couldn't hold your finger on it. So I'm thinking in the summertime, as the temps go up, I may have to go with like a dual fan setup or something a little more powerful on this, but for now, this is working really well. And overall, yeah, just very happy with the Sledge at this point. So hopefully it's at the point now where it's going to be kind of a solid performer from here on out. The rear ring and pinion gear worked awesome, no more issues with that. Hopefully the front maybe has a little less strain on it, so maybe I can get away with keeping the front stock. We'll see about that. Same thing, the front hinge pins, I still have had, and I'm probably tempting fate here, but I've had no issues with the front hinge pins breaking. So for now, you'll see in the video I did cut down some of the 60 mils to fit in the front, but I did not actually install them yet, so I'm waiting to see if I have any issues with these. If I do, I'll go ahead and use those, but the rear have been holding up great. No breakages, no bending. I think that's a pretty good fix, pretty inexpensive, easy to do, and you can use it on all 4 corners. As for the inner hinge pins, I know some guys have broken them. I haven't yet, so I'm not sure what, if anything, I'm gonna do with those. I think that's kind of a wait and see on that. And yeah, other than that, it's been working great. I even took it to the indoor track nearby on Sunday, and I ran it on 4S and 6S and worked great. Only thing I do want to do is change out these wheels and tires. I think I want to go with more like the Traxxas Response truggy style tire. I don't know what wheels. I don't know if I'm going to do the Response wheels or do, maybe I'll pick up the green e-Revo wheels and then glue on the 3.8 Response tires. So I like that look. I've seen a couple guys do that. It looks really cool. And then I think that you get a little bit wider offset too, so I might try that. But yeah, that's it. Great run. So what my plan is for the next video, I want to go and do an update to my kind of like ongoing series as far as like known issues and fixes and repairs and tips and stuff. So I have a couple things I want to add to the list, so I'm going to work on that either today or tomorrow, and I'll get that video out shortly. Should be out by Wednesday at the latest. Look for that video soon. Thanks for tuning in. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Hit the like button if you like this video. Any questions or comments, drop them below. I'll get back to you guys. And yeah, thanks guys. See you in the next video. Later.